What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It is your boy D Dyson. Sorry for taking a little bit of time, but came down with some allergies. No corona, but just allergies. So wanted to get into the Outsider Season 1 review, where I loved every bit of it until the very end, because you left me with so much questions of, I don't know what is going on, and the fact that the build-up for this left me scratching my head. But did a little bit of research, on heavy spoilers, the breakdowns. Shout out to Heavy Spoilers on YouTube. If you guys aren't subscribed to them, you guys should, because they really break down and go further into explanation of what we've been watching. So first off, just want to say I love the season. I really do, because it kept you in suspense the entire time building up to the last episode. I love that. The fact that, you had Jason Bateman play Terry, and knowing that Terry was accused of brutally murdering this boy, Frankie Peterson. And when they arrest Terry, they find that, how could he have murdered this boy and been here at the same time? So that's what intrigued me so much. What's going on? This gave me that True Detective vibe, knowing that The Outsider started coming out around the same time as True Detective. I know True Detective last year came out in January, kind of ran all the way till like late February, early March. So it gave me that same vibe, that same feel. That's why I was so invested into this. And the fact that it was made by Stephen King, the actual source material was made by Stephen King. I love that aspect. Just the fact that, I love Ben Mendelsohn as Ralph, the detective, how he just refused to believe what is going on. Like, how can somebody be in two places at once? That's impossible. Just looking at facts, because he's a cop, he's a detective, he's looking at facts. On top of the fact that, he has his own personal demons, where he himself had his son killed, or his son died. So he's looking at this particular case as, I cannot believe you'll do something like this. So he's ready to nail Terry to the wall. Then, you get Terry's lawyer kind of like, man, how could this guy commit this murder when he's over here at a teacher's conference in another state? So how can you ignore that fact? And that's what made me like, man, this is about to get good. And Ben Mendelsohn's character, Ralph, was kind of like, I don't care. He did this murder. Look at it. He's on film. He's on camera. Look at it. We're going to convict him. And just as you kind of like understand, like, how could this be? As Terry is going to trial, he gets killed by a raving lunatic that just had a gun, just came out, boom, shot him, killed him, and then Ralph kills the lunatic. And then you just see the trauma and just how much hurt and loss that Terry's wife and his kids had, where she couldn't get a job, she couldn't really work, and she tried to go back to her job as being a real estate agent. She just was PTSD all the way through. Like, man, this is going to haunt you. It's going to follow you. You and your kids are going to have to pack up and leave town. She's like, I'm not leaving. This is where we live. Terry got us here. We're staying here. So you could just see the tremendous amount of guilt and just the sadness and burdenness and the misery that the wife had to go through. And then as Ralph is just like, I don't know what the hell's going on. You got an array of different detectives, like, man, looking into the case. Then they phone Holly. Now, Holly, which is played by the actress that played Harriet Tubman, she did a really good job in this. I really want to give her kudos. She did a really good job in this, knowing that her gift of gab was she just had the ability of facts. Like, she can stare at a building, know exactly how tall it is. She can give you quotes from a movie that she never even seen. She can know songs that she never heard. She her whole life was like, I don't know what's going on, but she just was like, I had this gift. So they call her because, sometimes she helps out with cases that are passe or that are really difficult to grasp around. So she comes in and she starts to understand, like, hey, give me the case, let me understand what's going on. How this person could be there in one place and another at the same time. So she starts doing her research. She comes across an entity called El Cuco. Now, El Cuco is a shapeshifter monster that feeds, and she's like, this could be a possibility of why, of who this entity is. And then she starts doing more research and finding out that, yes, it is a El Cuco mythical type of monster that does this type of thing. And as you've seen throughout the episodes, you just seen that hooded figure, disfigured face. Everyone was giving everyone signs of, hey, this is a disfigured person, this is a hooded person, and it's just like not going well. So I'm telling myself, Ralph is just refusing to believe that this figure exists, and until it visits his wife, and his wife is like, oh my gosh. And to me, looking back at it, El Cuco had these powers where even with Jim, the detective, he put that, that I guess that rash or virus across his neck, controlling him in a sense. So this guy is extremely powerful in what he does, along with shape-shifting and killing kids. Because you see, as he was going to do it again when he was in that park. And I was just telling myself, I'm like, with all these gifts, that's why the last episode didn't make sense to me until I had to watch Heavy Spoilers, which I'm, bringing up again. But I was just telling myself, as they kind of start understanding what this entity is and going back and look at the footage, seeing how he was shape-shifting and killing every 20 to 27 days and shape-shifting into human contact, which is scratching. He had to scratch somebody so he could take their body, and then that 27 days, he'll take the full transformation. And then with Jim, he beat Jim so bad to where he almost looked like that transformation. So I thought he was about to turn into Jim. That's how he kind of, does things. He beats him up and then has him look like that. Or it could have possibly been Jim the whole time. So that's why I kept telling myself, I don't know where they're going with it, but I'm thoroughly entertained and understanding what's going on. So probably like around episode 9, episode 8, where they start believing a little bit and buying into the El Cuco scheme, especially when Holly had presented it to everyone, and then the wife was like, "This is bullshit." Ralphie was kind of like, "Man, this can't be what you come up with. We're paying you to do this, and this is what you come up with." And she just goes into heavily explaining, "Hey, this is what it is. I know this for a fact. This is what it is." And then, as they start protecting Claude to vouch for Claude's whereabouts, then they see El Cuco go into that park and try to go and kidnap that little boy so he can feed on him. So when they lift the mask up, they see that his face was a little disfigured, his eyes was a little, all black, but it looked like Claude. And that's when the detectives was like, hey, no, Claude's here. We vouch for him. He's been here the whole time. So when you see that image of this is what this thing is, that's when Ralph finally believes. And that's when I was like, yeah, this is going to get good. So kind of backtracking to Jim and how tormented Jim was, how this thing was tormenting him throughout the whole season. And I just was telling myself, I'm like, if he's tormenting him, he must be a really strong figure. And then it gets to episode 10 where, Jim is picking off and shooting all the people trying to come after El Cuco. Because he has to protect El Cuco. Otherwise, that thing in the back of the boils are starting, it burns him, it hurts him. So he's kind of like, I'm going to do what you say, just don't hurt me. So he's killing off all these people. And then he finally sees Holly and it's like, I tried to help you once. And even Jim, like I said, tried to kill Holly and Holly gets away. Holly was like, I'm still trying to help you. So he backs off, and then the snake comes, I guess, in the form of El Cuco, and was like, I'm gonna kill Jim. So Jim kind of knew where he was going to head anyway, so he just kind of accepted his fate. And after Jim kills himself, and then they walk into that cave, and they explain. I love how they set up the cave, understand, why he was in the cave, and just having that build up about the cave. I was so upset because the fact that he fully looked like Claude, which was okay, that when the real Claude finally came there, he shoots him and it really kills him. So that's why I'm telling myself, how powerful are you if you could be shot by a mortal weapon and then the cave collapses, a big cave spike is in his chest, and then Holly stabs him and then he really dies. So I'm just like, how strong are you to have this force when Jim could have easily just killed you and got it over with? Burning of the neck aside, Jim could have just said, you know what, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to shoot you. So that's why it kind of left me like, dang, really? Like, Jim could have killed you this whole time and he didn't, But I guess it's just unraveling the mystery of what this thing was and the possibilities of, just like El Cuco said, there's more than me out there. I haven't met them, but I know they are. It's opening up a realm of, hey, it could be more things out here. And I'm thinking the title, The Outsider, was about Ralph or about El Cuco, but it's really about Holly. As she said in the end, it takes an outsider to know an outsider. So it's explaining how Holly is the outsider, and she may run across these different type of beings that are out there. So I like it because at the end I couldn't grasp of why this is like this, but I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and I feel like they should have another season with Holly coming into the fold, trying to solve another case similar to this, with just another monster or just another mystery. I love that. So I give this The Outsider season 1. Hopefully they do have another season. I give this a solid 8.5 out of 10. Only because the final episode kind of was like, it just left it, it tied up all the loose ends, and I was kind of like, it didn't give me that satisfaction like I was looking for with the monster El Cuco. So, but all in all, I still loved it. I really, really enjoyed this, and I hope they have more seasons. So, if you guys enjoyed my review of The Outsider, subscribe to my channel, post comment down below, like the video. It's your boy, D. Dyson. Peace.